All right. Well, thank you so much, Wendy. And good morning, everyone. I'm so glad to be here with all of you today to really look a bit at all of the new practices in ITIL 4. I'm sure many of you know ITIL 4 has been around since early 2019. However, at least in my experience, a lot of practitioners are still a bit perplexed by the lack of processes in favor of practices. As such, that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to take a look at the new practices in ITIL 4. But what does that really mean? Well, I want to first go through a little bit of an introduction to talk about why there are no longer explicit processes. Instead, there are practices. Then we're going to walk through all of the ITIL 4 practices, breaking them into three categories: general management practices, service management practices, and technical management practices. At the end of the session, we'll have a brief summary. But before we get started, I do want to take just a moment to review ITIL 4 just at a really, really high level. ITIL actually has been around for over 30 years, and it has truly led the way for guidance in IT service management. Well, ITIL 4, which is the latest generation of IT service management best practices, has really brought this guidance up to date. It is reshaping practices in the wider context of customer experience, value streams, and digital transformation. ITIL 4 is also embracing new ways of working, like lean and agile and DevOps. And ITIL 4 provides guidance to address new service management challenges and also to use the potential of modern technology. In the end, ITIL 4 really represents a flexible, coordinated, and integrated system for effective governance and management of IT services. So, with that brief history in mind, let's take a look at the ITIL 4 practices. So we're going to start really with an introduction about why we now have practices. For those of you who remember, in ITIL v3 or ITIL 2011, you may have seen something that looks kind of like this, right? So we have these 5 lifecycle stages: service strategy, service design, service transition, service operation, and continual service improvement. And in each of these life cycle stages, there were processes. So we had things like service portfolio management, or service level management, or change management, or incident management. In fact, in ITIL 2011, there were 26 processes. So the question is, where are those processes in ITIL 4? Well, in ITIL 4, processes have kind of evolved to become practices. More specifically, they are called management practices. So in ITIL 4, a management practice is a set of organizational resources that are designed for performing work or accomplishing an objective. And there are really 3 categories of management practices. The first are general management practices, and these have been adopted and adapted for service management from general business management domains. Second, there are service management practices. These have been developed in service management and in the ITSM industries. And then finally, the third category is technical management practices. And these have been adapted from technology management domains for service management purposes by expanding or shifting their focus from technology solutions to IT services. Let's actually take a look at the ITIL 4 practices. Here they are. There are 34 management practices. 17 of them I'm sorry, 14 of them are what we call general management practices. 17 of them are what we call service management practices, and 3 of them are what we call technical management practices. So here's where you're going to see things like portfolio management, or service level management, change enablement, or incident management, just as we saw in ITIL v3 and ITIL 2011. So although the processes from ITIL v3 or ITIL 2011 have evolved from processes to practices, they're all still here. So let's just dig deeper into these for just a moment. The 14 general management practices, remember, have been adopted and adapted for service management from general business management domain. So this is going to include things like knowledge management or project management or strategy management. The 17 service management practices have been developed in service management and in other ITSM industries. So here's where you'll find things like incident management and problem management, as well as things like service request management. And then finally, the 3 technical management practices have been adapted from technology management domains for service management purposes by expanding or shifting their focus from technology solutions to IT services, and that includes things like deployment management. Now, okay, I want to be real with all of you for a moment. The distinctions that exist among general management, service management, and technical management categories are slight. So just for example, I think business analysis is more of a general management practice. And information security management, I would argue, is more of a service management practice. But hey, that's just my opinion. But here's my advice to you. I want you to think of these 3 categories as grocery bags. You know, when you go grocery shopping, you may try to group certain things together. For example, you group all of your fruits in one bag and then all your vegetables in another bag. Well, what about tomatoes? I mean, technically, a tomato is a fruit. However, you might want to put them in with the vegetables instead. And that's okay. And the same is true with these categories. They're simply ways to group the management practices together, but they are not rules, and definitely not something you have to memorize. Also, some of you might be wondering what all of these crazy numbers are on this slide. Please allow me to explain. ITIL has several levels of certification exams, the very first of which is the ITIL Foundation certification exam. And for the ITIL Foundation exam, you do not need to know all 34 practices in detail. I mean, it's true, right, that all 34 of them show up in the intermediate and then in the advanced certification exams. However, not in the Foundation certification exam. At the foundation level.
Hi there, hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Maludis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also gaining complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year, but if you use the coupon code LEARN2EARN, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.